If you'd like, we can take this down. Well, I can't get that down and drive. So.
Gotcha.
Whoa, rumbling on your side.
Rumbling, tumbling.
You can put that in
It's gonna take a minute
the
to
box.
get some viewers on here anyway. Good morning, Rachel. Or maybe, did I read that wrong? Nope, I read that right. Do a little morning podcast here. Johnny Patton, on my way, my friend. We're on our way to the airport right now. I will be in fucking Glasgow tomorrow morning. I think that thing's looks fairly stable also.
That's probably due to my good driving. I'd say.
What's up, Danny? From Amsterdam checking in. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to set this here.
Okay.
Should be good with that. Yo, 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 yo. Hey, it works better if the earphones are plugged in, huh? Oh, yeah, that audio sounds pretty good, too. So what do you think? I don't have an intro for you guys to listen to. I'm going to run this intro on the actual podcast audio, and then you guys can just hang out while we chill out. We're going to be talking about foundations. We're going to be talking about building a foundation, how you can build a foundation, what you should do while building your foundation. We're going to get into some good shit. Also, a little bit of an update from last weekend, if you haven't seen all the hoopla online. So we'll get into that. We'll turn this off. Hit that, hit that. Anyway, we're going to run the intro real quick and get into some conversations. As you can see, we've got our seatbelts on. Had a little bit of an issue with my seatbelt last weekend. But we're being safe today. You really should. You really should wear the fucking thing. People, you know, you see most people that die in car wrecks get ejected from the car. So, Tim, Melanie, and Danny, good to see you guys from the UK joining in. See you guys in a couple days. We're on our way to the airport right now. Yo, you beautiful motherfuckers. It is the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, episode 83. Holy shit, 83 episodes already. Okay, I want to go through the upcoming events real quick for everybody. February 3rd, that's in 2 days. February 3rd, we're going to be ABKC UK Back to the Future event, UK Bully Fest 4, the UK's #1 bull breed event the past 4 years in a row. 4 years in a row. Contact Sean Main for any information on that. Booths, pre-registrations. He messaged me yesterday. We got 260 dogs already pre-registered. It's open till midnight tonight. So if you want to get in, and you haven't yet, get your pre-registration in. I think the first show you have to be pre-registered to show. Don't quote me on that. Good morning, sir. Don't quote me on that. I think the first show, if you want to show in the first show, I think you have to be pre-registered. I'm not sure. Contact Sean Main. Figure that out. You guys are grown. You're fucking grown. Hit up Sean. He'll help you out. That's at the Sutton Leisure Center. It's supposed to be in Liverpool. I don't know, maybe in Leeds or Nottinghamshire, or I don't know any of the they got crazy ass names for towns over there. I don't know any of them. Cambridge, Newcastle. I don't know where we're gonna be. Stansted. I don't know where we're gonna be. Hit up Sean Main. Hit up Sean Main for that. March 25th, I'll be judging the ABKC Art of Bully Show in Bangkok, Thailand. That'll be a good one. Hit up Apina. Actually, shoot me a private message if you want information about that. And I'll put you in contact with Apina. I can't pronounce her last name. You know what's interesting about that?
What's that?
I actually just had a couple from Texas that said they wanted to plan a trip to Thailand. Now they're going to plan their trip around the show so they can go to the show. So the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast has got people coming from Australia and Texas now to the Thailand show. Crazy shit, craziness. The reach of this shit is kind of scaring me a little bit lately, to be honest with you. So that's March 25th. That's at the MCC Hall, 4th floor, Bangkok. June 2nd, we'll be emceeing, doing some live coverage of the Magic Bully Canada ABKC show number 2. That's in Quebec, Canada. The Hotel du Lac Carling in Grenville, Canada. Contact Matthew Kwan. Again, guys, if you guys have any problem, if you have any problem finding these people, just shoot me a message. I'll put you directly in contact with them. Euro Nationals, last weekend of June. Old Dad's gonna be there. I don't know what. I don't know how I'll be there yet. If I'm judging or if we're just gonna be doing some live coverage, podcast, MC, stuff like that. But I will fucking be there. That's in Scotland. And again, Australia in August. Now, we have this show coming up February 17th. It's called the ABKC Bully-Time Love Show. Bully Love Show. I believe this is the 3rd year in a row they've had this. Hosted by Christina Maxwell and my guy Ernest Johnson. One of the best venues in the fucking country. Purina Farms, about 25 minutes from St. Louis. 8 breeds involved. American Bullies, Frenchies, English, Shorties, you know, all the breeds you want. Junior handlers. February 17th, Gray Summit, Missouri, at the Purina Farms venue. If you haven't been there, get there. If you haven't been to one of Christina's shows or Ernest's shows, they did this last year. It was a huge success. We were out there. We did some little video for it. Anyway, we'll be out there. Okay, we'll be in St. Louis, February 17th for the Bully-Time Love Fest. I don't know. Bully-Teen? I assume it's Bully-Time because it's Valentine.
Oh, yeah, I'll probably say.
If you don't have shit to do for your Valentine's Day, St. Louis, here you come. Okay. That's it. That's all the advertising shit that I got right now. Let me give you guys a little update on my weekend, last weekend at the Perry event. This was January 27th, ABKC Super Bowl number 4. Huge event. 200 dogs in the building. The building itself was busy all day. Even in my show 3, because usually Rachel Ogletree and I would have done show 1 and 2. She was going to be late. I ended up getting stopped and held up for a little while, so I was also late. Let me just tell you guys this. If you're in Georgia, wear your seatbelt. Motherfuckers will pull you over, I promise. They're going to want to know everything that's going on in your car as soon as they pull you over. Wear your seatbelt, I promise you, okay? It's not something to joke about. I take it super seriously. It's definitely a position I should not have put myself in, but wear your fucking seatbelt in Georgia, okay? That's all I have to say about that. You know, it really it put me in a position to find out who's really got your back. You know, because you meet, and you probably have more experience even with this than I do, but you meet so many people in these dogs, you know, dealing with these dogs. You meet so many people. We met through dogs. Rachel and I met through dogs. Rolando and I met through dogs. Austin, Jerry, Leon, Errol, all these people, my guy Len, Timbo. I met all these people through dogs that I consider family to me now. But you just never know, like when shit hits the fan,
Right.
who's gonna step up and go to bat for you. And I got proven in a real life situation who would step up and go to bat for me. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody that's reached out, messages, showed love, told me to keep my head up. Is what it is, man. You know, we all make mistakes, and this is a real life scenario. I mean, I know all my personal business is all over Facebook and all these crazy boards, the tabloid boards I call them. I know my business is out there, but it's a real life thing. It has nothing to do with dogs. It's a real life situation, mistakes that I made. So it's I don't know, just wear your fucking seatbelt, man. Don't give them an excuse. Don't give them a fucking excuse to pull you over or get in your car, because they will.
You know, when you're talking about all the people we've met through dogs, you know, do you think you'd have your passport if it wasn't for dogs? I know I would. I wouldn't have mine, I know.
If you didn't call me in 2013 and say, hey, do you want to go to England with us and apprentice at this show, I guarantee I would not have my passport. Even right now. I've been on so many trips, I forgot my passport twice. I almost forgot my passport this morning. That's how many trips I've been on now. If Jamie Sweet wasn't here, I would not have my passport right now driving to the airport. But no, I definitely wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't have.
Right, I think about that a lot, you know.
I wouldn't have anything. Like, honestly, I think about where I might be in life if we hadn't started this whole thing. I don't know if I like the vision that I get of me before. I mean, with no dogs, or not meeting the people I've met, or going to places that I've been. You know, that show that you invited me to had nothing to do with the ABKC. Mm-hmm. It was just bulldogs, you know, just an opportunity for me to learn more about dogs and judging in general. If we hadn't have done that, I wouldn't. You know, I got 11 countries now on my sleeve. Yeah. About to add 3 more. It blows my mind. I definitely would not have a passport.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't.
And it's crazy to me, because even before we met, you had already been traveling to Holland and to Spain and to Belgium and to the UK. Like, you had already kind of been to these places. So in my head, like, I just assumed that's what you do. Hey, everybody that's showing support right now in the comments, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the love. And if you see all that negative shit, be sure you go on there and put a big fuck you on there from Ty Lumley. I appreciate that. I don't really feed into the negative shit. I don't comment. I don't respond to those people. You know, elephants don't respond to ants, as far as I'm concerned. And that's not a fat joke. I'm a big guy, but it's not a fat joke. I just appreciate all the support. Everybody's been, you know, everybody that I actually interact with has been nothing but supportive.
Well, everybody will get their turn if things don't change with that negative, you know.
Yeah. And
everybody will get their turn. I mean, people look for something that's, all that stuff's not even dog related. I'm so tired of it. I'm tired of it. I hate to see anybody go through that shit. It's just shit.
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody get twisted up in life. Like, if we have disagreements over dogs, I still don't want to see your personal life go to shambles. Not that mine is, but I actually worked out. I'm really fortunate to have the people that I have in my corner, and it worked out great, and we got it taken care of and handled. But I don't want to see that for anybody. I don't want to see personal shit pop up for anybody, you know. But people take the dogs, I mean, they take this shit so seriously. If I make a statement like, if your dog's not bully, it doesn't matter what the fucking structure looks like, and they take that statement and they think that I'm a terrible person because of that one statement, and then they attack you. I don't ever want to see that, so I just don't respond, you know. I don't get into that. Right now we got six countries, 3 continents watching this live.
Really?
Just so everybody's aware. There's people coming from everywhere. Holland, UK, Ireland, Australia's on there, Philippines on there. My dude Khan from Chicago's on there. My dude Ernest is up here. It's a worldwide thing. Okay, so let's get into some serious shit, because we only got about 30 more minutes before the Wi-Fi is going to cut out.
Before we hit the twilight zone.
Foundations. The foundation of your yard. It's the most important part. The foundation's going to change from generation to generation. Sometimes you're going to get a new foundation dog out of each generation. Sometimes you're going to go years without getting that next step and that next foundation. Sometimes you got to go back to the well, as Jamie says. Sometimes you got to go back to the roots and the original. Sorry, the camera's floating around here. We got a little mobile studio set up here. But first of all, what would you consider to be what would you say the foundation, like what would you define as what the foundation dogs need to be? Like, okay, let me premise the question with this. For me, because there's two different kind of foundation breedings, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
And we're going to talk about both. In a breed like Shorty Bulls, there's been a lot of kind of controversy, not really controversy, drama really, where foundation breedings in that breed are actual different breeds being bred as an F1, right? So you take a English Bulldog and use it in a Shorty Bull, or back in the day it was Staffy crosses when you were first building the athleticism, a Frenchie here or there.
So let's explain this maybe. So we call those foundation breedings.
Right.
Foundation breedings. F1s, their offspring F2s and on down the line. And that's a little bit different than the foundation of your program.
Right, that's right. That's exactly. There's a difference between F1 breedings or foundation breedings and the stock that you're building your program around, which we call the foundation stock. Like for me, Jackpot, Blue Rose, Francesca, Rain, Mega Millions, Cleopatra, Maestro, these are all dogs that I'm building the program off of. Those are the foundation of the program. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been other dogs involved. Mega's mom, that's a prime example, Mega's mom. Mega himself, I used to continue to build the program. Mega's mother, that was her only breeding. See what I'm saying? That female may not necessarily be a foundation bitch, but when paired right, her pedigree is built in a way, bred right, she gave me a new piece of the foundation to move forward with. So that bitch herself, not a foundation bitch. Mega, foundation male. So, and it's not an F1 for us. It's not a cross for us, or
because your breed's established.
Because, well, American Bullies are established, which I'm still up in the air about that. I feel like we're still to a point. Not that it's not an established breed. It is a breed. But when I think of established breeds, I think of 50 years plus. That's been a breed 50 years plus.
When I think, that's an interesting question. When people ask me all the time, how long does it take to establish a breed? I can't say, well, it takes 7 years and you're done. I don't know. I mean, did you use 200 dogs? Did you use 2? What'd you do?
Oh, that's a super good point.
What'd you do, But I think an established breed is when 2 people who know nothing, basically complete novices,
yep,
buy 2 dogs out of the newspaper of this breed, breed them together, and they still get dogs that you can tell, like beagles. You can do that.
Right, you bought
Boxers.
A beagle from Joe Shit the Rag
do
Man and Amy Shitbag over here. You bred those two beagles together, you're going to get beagles.
Yeah, they may not be the best, probably, who knows,
right,
but you'll be able to very much tell they're beagles.
And we're not even talking about the show ring right now. This has nothing to do with the show ring. We're talking breed type.
Yeah,
breed type.
Breed
if
type
you buy
has
a
to be
beagle
set.
from here, buy a beagle from there, you're going to get puppies that look like beagles. That's a breed type set in stone. That's locked in for that breed. I guess that's probably a better definition. If you have the breed type, well, if you can pull that, if random strangers could breed, if 2 people, if somebody bought 2 dogs from me and from different litters and bred them together, they're going to get fucking American Bullies. You're going to.
And breed type does
But that's
not
not across
mean,
the board, don't you agree?
Yeah.
Like in American Bullies, even Shorty Bulls, there's people sometimes will buy one from here and one from there and get some sort of mixture kind of this that might look like an American Pit Bull Terrier, an Amstaff. These three in the litter look like American Bullies. And you're going to get throwbacks, obviously, but that's why it's so important for your foundation to be full of dogs to where if you get throwbacks, you're still throwing back to really good shit. That's why it's important to me to build the foundation. Anyway, but like you were saying, your Beagles, Rat Terriers, Cocker Spaniels, like that, to me, that's an established breed. English Bulldog, to me, that's an established breed.
Yeah, so that's important. And I was going to say, breed type doesn't equate to quality.
Right.
It just says...
Just because it looks like the breed doesn't mean it's a good example.
Right,
of the
and
breed.
it just says, okay, I can recognize that as a Beagle. I can tell that's a Beagle.
That's a crazy good point, too, especially for the mentality that we have in American Bullies. Hang on, let me fucking plug my piece of shit iPhone back in. Hey, iPhone, you know, you can work on these batteries, man. Apple, come on, man. You can work on these batteries at any time. You know, seems like I gotta charge this thing 6 times a day.
You know, that brings me to another point that's kind of off topic, but you know, I like to go off in all directions. A lot of people think that a registry should police its breed by saying, you know, we're going to decide what gets registered.
Yeah, but I
think that's ridiculous.
I don't think that's the registry's job. It's not your...
I don't either. I mean, if you breed 2 Beagles together, those pups are Beagles.
Yeah, fact. Doesn't even matter if they don't have papers or not.
Or excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a lot of people's answer. We need to police these breeds more. No, that's not even the answer. No, we need to.
And on the flip side of that, you could have, there's people right now, there's people that did breedings this weekend that are breeding American Bullies that don't look like American Bullies, that aren't going to get American Bullies out of their litter, but they're still registered as American Bullies. So it works both sides. If you got 2 Beagles from a back road breeder, backyard breeder, for the fur mom terminology, if you get 2 Beagles from backyard breeders and breed them together, they're still going to look like fucking Beagles.
And how it changes, it's this simple. Like, I'm a Bulldog person, so chances are when I go buy the Beagles, I'm not really going to dig snipey Beagles, even though they're supposed to have a muzzle.
Right.
I'm going to look for some. So what if I look for some Bully Beagles? I accidentally find a couple, and then I start breeding those.
Yeah.
They're still Beagles, but I'm going to change it just enough.
So I guess so. Even one person could have an impact on. That's why there's different strains within breeds, because that's your personal influence. Speaking of Bully Beagles, have you seen the Beagles that are being shown, like AKC? They're fucking boned up, like heavy boned, rabbit killing motherfuckers.
I haven't seen those.
Bone.
Yeah.
I'm talking. I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Somebody looked that up. 6 or 7 years ago, a Beagle won the Westminster show. The bone proportion on this dog like blew me away at the time, because I was getting into bullies and I was like, well, these dogs have more bone than anything I've seen. And then I look at these Beagles and I'm like, man, these Beagles are shitting on a lot of people's bullies.
Wow.
And Basset Hounds, 2 Basset Hounds have a lot of bone.
Yeah, they do.
But
and a lot of backbone.
okay, I'm floating away here. Let's get back to foundations.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important to make sure the foundation pieces that you're breeding, because there's going to be, like right now in my program, Cleopatra. She's going to come up in those pedigrees the next few years multiple times. A dog like that, foundation dog, needs to be a quality dog, because we get 3 generations away from her. On that 4th generation, there's going to be throwbacks to her. There's going to be, because you can't avoid it. 4th generation is going to be throwbacks to something.
And if you're not breeding for it, you're going to lose it.
Right.
By the 4th generation, if you're not keeping track of the traits you want and breeding for those, it's hard to keep those in a breed, like especially like a shorty bull, where it's new.
Right. That
And
has a lot to do with it. Is the age of these breeds that we're talking about. Ariel's got a good question, actually. Ariel says, what if you start breeding outside the parameters of the breed standard, you still consider it that breed? If it still looks like that breed, Ariel, it is that breed, regardless. Doesn't matter the paperwork, doesn't matter what the fuck they told you. If it still looks like an American bully, it's an American bully. Whether it's a good example or not, breed type is paramount. Breed type it determines all that.
But if you breed outside the parameters, like you're going to find American bullies that are bigger than the standard calls for, but they're still registered as American bullies.
Oh, like people breeding 13-inch pocket dogs right now.
Okay,
14's the minimum for a male.
Mm-hmm.
So people want 13-inch pocket dogs. That was kind of what he's saying.
I think that's what he's saying.
Right, hopefully.
So how it used to be, but not anymore, but it used to be, everything worked synergistically. Here was the breed standard. Here's the breeders. They're breeding to the standard. Judges judging to the standard. Dogs that are closest to the standard should be promoted. So the right dogs are getting shine. The right dogs are getting bred. Blah, blah, blah down the line. It's not quite that way anymore.
No, because everybody screams politics, and as soon as a judge makes a pick, that dog's not a quality dog. He didn't pick that dog because it's quality. He picked that dog because the handler's sucking his dick. Or he picked that dog because he got a gift basket last night in front of his hotel room. But do you think that's... Whose fault is that? Is that the community just assuming we're all scumbags? Or is that a couple of bad apples ruining the whole bunch?
This is where I think that monitoring and guiding a breed is very important. And, like in shorty bulls, I know people are tired of, they got tired of me ruling it with an iron fist, but I don't really give a shit about that because it was so new. And so it's still misunderstood today.
Right.
And it still could be easily lost today without some guidance. But, that's where I think the community needs to change. You can't have bred dogs for as long as I have versus starting out and have any idea why I think that breeds need to be monitored. They need to be monitored. Foundation breedings, which are closed now in shorty bulls, but when they were open, if you've never bred dogs and you've never raised a shorty bull from infancy to 3 or 4 years old, how in the fuck are you gonna do foundation breedings? You haven't done any of these things.
Vetoed on that. Stop calling me. I'm doing a podcast. So
a lot of things aren't understood until you've swam in the waters for a while.
But that comes back to that experience thing that we talk about all the time.
Right. And I don't want to harp on that, but
if you walked into a law office, and the only thing you ever did was read a book on law, they're not going to let you be someone's lawyer and defend them in court. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to put in years. You're going to have to go to school for 6, 7, 8 years. If you wanted to be a carpenter in the carpenters union, you're going to have to go apprentice under a journeyman. It's the same thing with dogs. How can people expect... Now, I know everybody wants to have this big fucking dream that they're going to buy 2 dogs and they're going to produce the best shit out. Maybe, but your chances, the likelihood of that is not great unless you've got years of experience behind you.
And lots of space.
Or a mentor.
And, endless resources. It takes a lot of things.
Right.
And
it's kind of hard. It's like you say all the time. It's hard to make an impact when you only got a couple of dogs.
Right.
Not that you can't. You just have to do things the right way.
But, recently I've come to this conclusion too, and I believe it to be true. When you think about statistics and how data's collected and how many items we need before we have an accurate data collection. If we test.
Right.
If we test 10 things and 3 of them come up, we can't really say 3 out of 10. for the whole group.
Right.
That's wrong. But anyway.
Yeah, sample size is really small. That's why I like the.
And it's not even
surveys.
accurate. It's not even accurate
Right.
at all. I mean, you know. Anyway, I think you have to breed a lot of dogs. A lot of dogs. You just have to have numbers of dogs. I'm not saying everybody go out and get numbers. But I'm saying I see so many people that shoot for this perfection. All their eggs in these 2 baskets. And it's hard that way.
It's fucking
because
difficult.
Sometimes there's never a guarantee on what we breed. Never, never, never.
Never.
Sometimes, I'm sure you've had it happen to you. Have you ever had a breeding that turned out completely different than you thought? I've had it go both ways.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Fuck, those are the breedings no one ever hears about.
Yeah, or sometimes that happens, you know, and you're like, oh my God, that's crazy how that, you know, turned out. But I think you have to breed a lot of dogs to really get what you want out of this, and get a lot of, you know, get a lot of good dogs. I think it takes.
Let's put it this way: if you want to play baseball for a living, the average rookie baseball player's 20.
Whoa.
Well, if you're listening to the podcast, I just dropped the microphone. So that's going to be, sorry about that. Sorry about your ears. But if you want to play baseball for a living, I think the average age for a rookie baseball player is like 24 or 25. They start playing when they're 15, 16 years old. That's 10 years in the game to be able to be a professional.
But
we're not saying you can't do good things coming up and getting experience. But if you're one of these people screaming quality over quantity, and you only have 3 dogs and they ain't that quality, you're going to be facing an uphill battle. That's all we're saying.
Well,
if you guys are enjoying the conversation, hit like, leave a comment, share this motherfucker. You know, I've been seeing a lot lately, people sharing things on different boards. If there's a board you guys visit a lot and you think that they could benefit from this conversation, share it to that board. If you share it to Debatable, don't be surprised if that shit gets deleted, because one of the admins kind of hates my face. So don't be surprised if that gets deleted. But I think you're 100% right. I think, you know, the time in it and experience is going to tell you a lot about what you need, what foundation actually is, and you'll be able to see, are there breedings that you do where you know, like, well, not know, you never know, but are there breedings you do where you're like, oh, the next male that we're going to use coming out of here? Or do you just leave everything open to see the puppies? No, I'm saying like leave it open in your brain to see the puppies come out and then decide from there? Or are you setting that up beforehand and building that kind of in your head before that?
Every breeding I've done, you know, and I guess you have to realize that
I'm going to take this off the dash because we got police officers.
Yes, we do.
I'm sick of seeing cops this week, so...
Yeah, see how fast they just shut me right up.
Shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
Shut the police activity down.
But yeah, when I do breedings, I'm figuring I'm doing this breeding for the next generation, or I'm going to do this breeding here, and I'm going to do this breeding here, and then I'm going to take these pups, breed them to these pups, you know.
So it's a plan. You're mapping it out.
Yeah, it's a plan, and it's also that's the challenge to me. Can I guess what this is going to be like? You know,
right.
How close can I get? How many pups out of this? So you know, we're all challenged that way. We get excited that way, that sort of thing. But
how many of these, or how many times do you see people selling stuff as foundation stuff though that doesn't really have, like, if I say to you, this has the potential to be a foundation breeding, that means the parents are part of my foundation. That means the stuff behind that is set up to where even if it throws back, it's going to throw back to foundation type of dogs. In my head, the combination of or the offspring, the combination of the parents is going to be better than the parents. Like when I say to someone, this is going to be to me, this has the potential to be a foundation breeding. All that's there. All the components are there.
Every pup that I put out in the public, I look at it like this. How safe is this for an idiot? That's how I have to look at it. How safe is this dog for an idiot to breed?
Right.
You know? Do I want to put a super bully F1 out there and figure that's safe? That's not safe.
Probably not.
You know? And foundation breedings in my world, they're very important, but they're meant to be monitored, guided, you know, protected, used,
right?
All those things.
And you're talking like F1s, the foundation.
Yeah, my kind of F1s.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother podcast to get into, you know, what we're going to keep out of there and why, and blah blah blah. But
I actually would like to have a conversation about that because I've never.
Because it's
I've
misunderstood.
Never done it, you know what I mean?
It's a very
don't know
misunderstood
really much about it.
concept. Like people hear me say, you know, F1s for shorty bulls. Don't think because it's an AKC champion that's the right dog to use, and it also doesn't mean it's a screaming piece of shit.
Right.
That doesn't mean that at all. There's a very much a process to it. I've done a lot of foundation breedings, not even just with shorties, but with my oldies too. Didn't even use the same English bulldogs to get those done because there's.
Now that's interesting to me. Like you've built two breeds. Well, built your strains of two breeds off of that involved English bulldogs, oldies and shorty bulls. But you're saying you didn't use the same Englishes or even the same type of Englishes to get to reach your goals with each breed. So in oldies
because
you
the
use
end
one
result
kind.
is so different.
Right.
You know, shorties
type is what you're saying.
Yeah, and size as well. Why would you use great big dogs to make little dogs? Why use little bitty dogs if you want XLs?
It's true.
I mean, that should be
true.
Elementary shit right there. That's easy to figure. You know, when you use dogs with big gaps, you know, like you use an XL, you breed it to a Frenchie, and you know that's been done.
Oh yeah.
We've seen the videos of that disturbing shit.
Oh yeah.
Done. Well, I mean, you're only thinking about the puppies resulting from that. You're not. Is it even entering your head the inconsistency you're going to have later? You know, because you're putting the potential to throw little and big.
Yeah, and also get a XL heart and a Frenchie body. That shit happens. Or a Frenchie esophagus and an XL body. The shit happens.
Yeah.
The shit happens. But even if you're not mixing.
Right.
Mixing. Even if it's not an F1 breeding. And we're talking about building your foundation for your AmStaff program or American Bully program. That same kind of philosophy to me works.
And that's why.
Because why would you want to put something in there that's gonna, like a female that doesn't fit the type at all, but she's got a good pedigree behind her and she's got some color? Why would you breed her in there?
Because you got her there.
I understand why you're doing it, but in your brain you need to think like, that bitch is going to come back out.
But when you start out, and this is the thing, when you start out and this is your first two dogs, sometimes you're blind to some faults, you know, you're blinded by emotion. It's your first dog, you want to do this, you know, and you don't really understand it. And so then...
And sometimes you breed really nice bitches and you don't get what you thought out of them.
Right.
So then you got to move on from that. Sometimes you breed the ugly sister, like we talk about. You breed the ugly sister in a really good litter and you get good results. These are all variables. Nothing's black and white.
No.
That's what you need to understand. Nothing's black and white. But it's kind of percentages. You're kind of setting yourself up for failure using stuff that you don't want coming back out in the future, because it's going to come back out. So anything you put in there, it's going to come back out at some point, whether it's her offspring or skip a generation or fourth generation throwbacks. It's going to come back out.
And if everybody would just, you know, I always say it's a numbers game. Keep track of things. You know, I had 8 out of 10 puppies that met this, or I had 3 out of 10 that met this and the rest didn't. But your evaluation skills will increase as you do this more.
Right.
And as you grow in your breed, and as you see more and learn more and grow more. Growing them is so important. So important for you to learn a breed.
Right.
You know?
Now listen, guys, if this camera cuts out, it's because we're in Kansas, northeastern Kansas, and shit doesn't work out here sometimes. If the video cuts out, we're going to continue talking on the podcast. You can catch that shit on iTunes or YouTube later today. YouTube will be probably tomorrow, but iTunes will be out later today. So if it cuts out, subscribe to the iTunes. Just go to iTunes and type in Bull-NA-ChinaShop. The shit will come right up. Hit subscribe and you'll be able to listen to it.
So let's talk about this. So what would you want for your foundation of your program? What are you going to look for? How do you research that? What do you want to do? Or do you just start out with, this is my first dog, this is my foundation period, I'm going to fix this, everything that's wrong? Or are you going to...
I tried that.
Are you going to grow a first dog and then...
That's the approach I tried.
You're going to start over and do it differently?
No, I bought...
I mean, that's something...
I got fairly lucky because the first dog I bought was Rain, my blue male Rain. I got kind of lucky with him because I made a decision. As soon as I bought him, I was in fur mom mode. I said, this is the most beautiful fucking thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Even though he looked like a sickly little Chihuahua puppy when I got him because he had parvo, but survived. I said, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I'm going to build off of this. And especially when he got 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and I got to see some of the traits that he had I'd never seen before. This is it. I'm building off of this. Which, so I can understand the mentality of getting something that you're in love with.
It's normal.
And building off it. I get that. But at some point, I had to take a step back and say, hey, I'm not getting, you know, when I breed Rain this way, I'm not getting anything that I want. When I breed him this way, I'm kind of getting stuff that I want. When I really take it over here to really overdone bully bitches, that's when I get the best stuff.
And you have to have a few to even grow a litter to even know how to recognize those stages. You know, that's super, super important.
Right.
Because the breeds go through some really horrible teenage stages.
Crazy stuff. They go through crazy stuff.
Yeah, so I can tell you, sometimes with my American Bulldogs especially, great looking pups at 8 weeks. That's all I had in my head was that, 8 weeks, then that's what they're going to be as an adult. And we'd get to 5 months. And I mean, it was not even close. It was just all gangly legs and an ugly head that was a peanut. And, it was awful.
I think our breeds, I say our breeds, I'm referring to the American Bully. It's not, I didn't create this shit, so everybody calm down. The Shorty Bull and American Bully, I feel like, probably go through some of the biggest changes. Right? So
Right.
8 weeks, you see something amazing. 5 months, you might see something that you want to take outside and find a hole for. But then when it comes back around to that 8 weeks, sometimes the 1 to 2 year change is even bigger than the 6 months to a year change.
You know when that really sinks in?
I just think these breeds, like, we have the weirdest growing breeds, I think.
I don't really think they're weird when you think of kids and stages. I mean, you didn't look like this when you were 12.
I did, though.
Sure.
I actually did. I just looked like a smaller version of a monkey walking around.
But think of, like, boys that are 12, they shoot up, they get tall, thin. The teeth come in.
Yeah.
They quit taking showers.
Hair starts growing on your balls and you start